Hi everyone, I'm Penny Wolff, one of the founders of Wolff Coffee Roasters. I want to bring you inside for a little adventure so we can taste some coffee together. Come on in. Hi everyone, Penny Wolff here as I mentioned. You will have noticed our YouTube channel has changed names. We haven't actually changed at all. Our business has always been called Wolff Coffee Roasters and we're just putting it under that banner now. So welcome back to our Wolff Coffee Roasters YouTube channel. So today we're talking tasting coffee. And in the industry it's really interesting because we talk tasting coffee through a procedure called cupping. And cupping is in a bowl, something like this, with a spoon, it looks like this. And we taste coffee and we slurp it with a spoon and we enjoy all the different qualities that sit within the cup. But the important part of doing a cupping is you're actually tasting coffee side by side, because what you're trying to do is you're comparing one cup to the other. So we're going to do that today, but in a coffee experience like you would if you were going to a cafe and taste coffee side by side, so we can talk through the things that you might like to experience in a cup. So here we go. To me, tasting is really quite a reflective process, and there's two really important prerequisites in tasting coffee, and they're not that hard and everybody has it. So for me, the two prerequisites are your taste buds, your amazing taste buds that you have in your mouth. And the second thing is coming with a sense of curiosity. That's really all you need to taste coffee. So they're the things we're going to talk about today. And we're going to break it down into a few different categories, but I'll talk you through as we go to keep it really simple. So when it comes to tasting coffee, it's quite a continuous process. And the goal is to notice things that you haven't really noticed before and to develop what I would call is more of a sensory spectrum. So it's like a spectrum of flavors and words and language that you can use to describe what you're actually tasting in your mouth. What's really important is to recognize what you like and what you don't like, because then when you go to a cafe, you can actually order what you like because you know more about what you like, right? So that's cool. To break it down, there are 5 key things I want to inform you of. Well, not really inform you. Let's change that word and just say let's talk about. So we're going to look at sweetness. We'll also talk through the body of the cup. We'll also look at acidity and then flavour and then the aftertaste. So that's the 5 main things to look for in coffee. When we think of coffee, I always say to customers when they're coming through, you know if you've had a good cup because you drink it usually fast and it's delicious. So it's quite often the sweetness that sits in the cup that you instantly engage with. So we'll talk through sweetness first. So yeah, what is it? What is it that you're looking for in terms of sweetness? Don't go for traditional refined sweetness. Look more for like an easy place to start. What's the sweetness that you would normally enjoy? Is it a honey connotation you're exploring? Is it more of a maple syrup? What is the sweetness that's sitting in the cup? Really try and think through what it is. And there will be a sweet quality there. It's just trying to isolate it on the palate. So that's sweetness in a snapshot. Now if we're talking body, that's also very easy. It's about the mouthfeel of what you're experiencing in your mouth. Is it viscous? Is there a thickening happening in your mouth? And what does it feel like? Like, how does it feel on your palate? If it has some weight to it, there may be a feeling of quite a lot of viscosity in the mouth. If it has a heavy type of connotation to it, you might draw into something like a stout beer. If it has a lighter connotation to it, you might be drawn in to think it's more like a light Pilsner. So hopefully that explains a little bit better for you, the breakup of the body. Now we're going to look at probably the most difficult one in the industry and controversial, being acidity. And it's a hard one to talk about in that people have very different perceptions of acidity in the mouth. To keep it really simple, if it's pleasant, it's usually an acidity. If it's unpleasant, it's normally a sourness that sits there in the cup. So if you think about the foods you like enjoying that have acidity to it, for example, like a nice slice of crisp apple or a squeeze of lime juice, that's acidity. And when you're breaking it down in the cup, there's some complexity that sits there. And if it's quite complex, there might be a brightness to the acidity that really stands out. So yeah, that's acidity. Now we're going to talk flavour. And flavour's a really interesting one because you can really let your imagination go wild and have a bit of fun and use words to describe what it is that you're enjoying in the cup. When we're looking at aftertaste, which is the last area I want to talk about today, that's really when you're drinking that cup of coffee and after you've consumed it, what's that flavour that's left on your palate? What is it left in your mouth? Is it a bad taste in your mouth? You don't want that. You want sweetness left in your mouth and you want it to be that pleasant feeling of, wow, that was great, I'm coming back again. So the second thing we're going to focus on as a prerequisite is your curiosity. So we've covered off the taste buds part. So what is it about curiosity? You've got to bring your curiosity to the cup. So one thing we talk about a lot in specialty coffee is the importance of the consumer understanding that not all coffee is created equally. So quite often you can go to a coffee shop and enjoy a good coffee, it's been well made by a barista, but what's actually in the cup may only be commercial or commodity grade coffee and not specialty. So here at Wolff Coffee Roasters, we're all about specialty coffee and about extending the customer's palate experience. So we want you to understand a little bit more about what sits in the cup and the importance of the truth of the cup that you're about to drink. So we're going to have, in a moment, arrive in front of me, a tasting flight. So here at Wolff, it's something that we do quite often with our customers is we present our coffees as a tasting flight. So two coffees will come out together and you taste them side by side as you would like you were in a cupping. But for the customer, you can experience, in this case, we're going to experience two blends side by side so we can think about and talk through some of those awesome things which we just discussed earlier, being the sweetness, the body, the acidity, the flavour and the aftertaste. So let's go. So here we are tasting an espresso flight of our two house blends. We have what we call our little red and our big dog. Very, very different blends and very different flavour profiles. So when you're enjoying specialty coffee, what you will expect to see is some tasting notes about the coffees that sit within the beans, that sit within the cup, and also the tasting notes. So let's go. So this has got some really delicious malty dark chocolate characteristics to it. So it's pretty simple, talking coffee. And I'd also say there's some lovely honeyed sweetness that sits in the cup and it's quite viscous and silky on the palate, which is really awesome. Let's have a go now across to the little red blend. Yeah, amazing. It's like blueberry and some lovely fruity jammy notes. So very different, very fruit driven coffee, this one, which is great. And the acidity is a little bit brighter and the texture is actually quite, I'd say white chocolate, like a fudgy quality to it, which is, yeah, delicious, really good. So that's the espressos. Now let's move on to the piccolos and we'll have a taste of those. So we now got the piccolo flight. And we're doing the same again, which is the little red and the big dog as piccolos. So what we're looking to see is how does it taste when you add milk to the product. So we'll go first with the big dog. Yummo, really good. Crowd pleaser, that one. So we've got some malty dark chocolate notes that as described here on our tasting notes, which is awesome. And it has this lovely rich and vanilla butteriness that sits in there too. So yeah, awesome. Then we head across to our little red for the piccolo. Let's go. Yeah, cool. So what actually happens here when you add milk to the product is it really changes the viscosity in the cup. So it's a lot more lush and viscous on the palate, and there's this thickness that's obviously coming from the milk, and it becomes a lot creamier. So when I talked about it in the espresso as being like a white chocolate texture with milk that is amped up like 4 or 5 times. So it's really, really, really viscous and delicious. And yeah, those fruit tones have definitely mellowed down a little bit, and the more toasty notes are shining through as well, which is awesome. So yeah, that's how easy it is to break down acidity, body, flavor, aftertaste. Let's talk aftertaste actually, because we didn't do that. So now left in my mouth from this last cup I've had here, which is a little red as a piccolo, it's very pleasant. I've got a sweetness that's residing there, even in the back of my palate. It's yeah, it's a really pleasant aftertaste, and that's kind of what you want to go for when you're enjoying coffee. So yeah, there you have it. We've talked coffee, we've tasted coffee, we've explored 2 important prerequisites, that being get on the taste buds and get on understanding curiosity. What I would like to say is make sure you subscribe to our channel. We'd love to see you following us. We will be dropping a YouTube every Wednesday, so keep an eye out for what drops every Wednesday from our YouTube channel. We'll see you soon. Bye.